all the devotees there at Leicester. I'm so happy to be here Sunday morning for you, mid-afternoon for me, and have association of all of you devotees there. And as our introduction was given that since Kartik is fast approaching, we have all gathered here today to inspire each other to get into the mood of Kartik Damodar month. I think just 3 more days to go. That's it. Today is 17 and 20th we start with our Damodar Kartik month here in India. So 3 more days to go, and let's inspire each other. It's been like 11 months of waiting to get to this day again, right? 11 months back we had celebrated Kartik month, and 11 whole months we waited for this Kartik to come back again. The glorious Kartik Damodar month, which is very, very special for Lord Shri Krishna's favorite month. So before we begin, we will take the blessings of the presiding deities and Srila Gurudev. Shri Radha Damodar Bhagavan ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Lakshmi Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, ISKCON Vartaman Guru Vrinda ki jai, His Holiness Jai Pataka Swami Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. So, we will dive into this topic of the glories of the Kartik month. I was just contemplating that we are so fortunate that whole year round our calendar is so busy with something or the other happening. The goal of our life is to remember Krishna, and the final exam is if we are able to remember Krishna at the end of our lives. But if we want to remember Krishna at the end of our lives, we have to do it whole life. Otherwise, it's not possible. And I'm always reminded of this funny joke that Srila Prabhupada said about this old man who was at the hospital bed, and his wife was persuading him, pleading to him, you chant, and he says, I can't. So that happens when we try to do something at the end moment, something like a student preparing for exam. If he does it at the last moment, he'll end up not writing anything. He'll fail in the exam. The preparation has to be done whole year round. So similarly, for us all to pass the final exam of remembering Krishna at that Antakale, we will have to remember Krishna whole life. And to remember Krishna whole life, there has to be some kind of an organized program. How do we do it? So this is so beautifully arranged. We have Rath Yatra, and then we have Janmashtami, and then we have Radhashmi, Narsim Chaturdasi, Gaur Purnima, Nityananda Trayadashi, Ram Navami, and Akshay Tritiya, Kartik month, Purushottam month, Chatur Mas, Ekadashis, Vaishnav appearances, disappearances, and there's so many things going on whole year round, which keeps our senses actively engaged in serving Krishna. Either we are fasting, or we are feasting, or we are preaching, or we are reading, or we are hearing, or we are chanting, or we are taking prasad. So all the time we are engaging our senses in Krishna's service. So and especially these tithis are all the more empowered. Like Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he puts in his bhajan, he says that Madhava tithi bhakati janani jatane palanakari. He says this Madhava tithi, this Ekadashi tithi, this different special tithis, they're so important, and jatane palanakari, we should very carefully observe them, because they are they give birth to bhakti. We are looking for bhakti. We want Krishna Prem, we want bhakti, and they deliver bhakti. These tithis, they are mothers of bhakti. So when we follow them properly, then, because the whole thing is abhyasa. In Bhagavad Gita, when there is this conversation between Krishna and Arjun says, how do you control your mind, which is, so powerful, and then Krishna says, abhyasa, you have to practice. So our mind is so chanchala, our mind is always agitated, and it's going here and there. And the only way to control the mind is to engage the mind by practicing Krishna consciousness regularly. And these kind of months and tithis, they inspire us so much, and they somehow or the other engage us in Krishna consciousness. So this month is very, very special. Of course, every day, if somebody is remembering Krishna, it's an auspicious day, it's an auspicious time, it's auspicious. But when especially some particular tithis, they are empowered. Like my Guru Maharaj very popularly puts it, like just like a sale in a mall. So there are some regular customers, whether there is a sale or not, they keep going to those mall. But then there are new customers who get attracted only when there is some kind of a grand reduction sale or a discount sale. So same thing, those who are devotees of the Krishna, they are already following a regular spiritual practice as given by Srila Prabhupada and the daily sadhana. But these months are more beneficial for those who are new into Krishna consciousness, to attract them into this process. So we will, before we get into the do's and the don'ts, what should we do for Kartik month, what should we not do for the Kartik month, we'll first discuss the importance of Kartik month. Because for doing something, basically we need to get some inspiration from inside. And when we get knowledge about this whole thing, okay, what are we going to get out of it, why is it so special, then that inspires us more. So before we get into the do's and don'ts, we will discuss about what is so special about Kartik month. What are the leelas that happened in Kartik month? Who are the devotees who gloriously followed the Kartik month? And what are the ways in which we can follow, from simple to, what is the best we can do. So in the Skanda Purana, it says that Na Kartika Samo Masam. There is no month in this world equal to Kartik month. And there says that Na Tirtham Gangaya Sama. There is no Tirtha. There is no holy water like Ganga. Na Veda Sadrisham Shastram. There is no scriptures like the Vedas. And Na Krite Yugam Sama. There is no yuga which is similar to Krita Yuga. That is Satya Yuga. So Kartik Maas is very special. Of course, sometimes devotees ask this question, which is better, Purushottam Maas or Kartik Maas? Because during Purushottam Maas, we talk about Purushottam Maas being the Purushottam month being the most special month. So which is more better? So it's like this. The presiding deity of the month of Kartik is Radharani. And because Radharani is the presiding deity of Kartik month, Krishna loves this Kartik month the best. But the presiding deity of Purushottam Maas is Krishna. The month itself is named Purushottama because Krishna accepts it as his own month. And that is why that month is very dear to Radharani. So Purushottam month is very dear to Radharani and Kartik month is very dear to Krishna. So we can say that both are equally powerful months. So this Kartik month is very, very special, and it's called Kartik month is because Radharani's mother's name was Kirtida Sundari, or rather Kirtika Sundari, and the one who is Kirtika Kumari, that means one who is the daughter of Kirtida Sundari, is Kartika, that is Radharani. So another name of Radharani is Kartika. So that's why, because the presiding deity for this month is Radharani, then this is called Kartik Damodar month. And of course we all know why it's called Damodar month, because of Lord Damodar. And also every month has a name of Krishna, like we have Keshava, Narayana, Govinda. Similarly, this month is called Damodar month. This month has the name Damodar of Krishna given to it. And of course, the vrata that we follow this month is called Urja Vrata. Urja means actually strength or energy. And the other name of Radharani is Urjeshwari. So one who energizes us when we decide to do this vrata, who blesses us, who gives us the strength to do it, who energizes us is Radharani. Okay, she is the one who inspires us and energizes us. And who gives the result? Radharani. So, I mean, she is the examiner and she is the one who helps the student also. So, one sincerely does this Kartik Vrata, then Radharani gives Gopi Prem. That is Krishna Prem, the love for Krishna. And this only Radharani can give, because even Krishna does not have Krishna Prem. I mean, he loves Radharani, but how can he love himself? So that prema and love for Krishna, only it's Radharani's treasure. And she freely gives it to those who follow the Kartik month. She's simply like sitting right there with the pot of Krishna Prem, and anybody who is following Kartik month, and she's just freely distributing it, So this is very, very special. It's called Urja Vrata. It's called Kartik Damodar month. And there are number of special leelas that happened during this month. And the first and foremost leela that happened was the Rasa leela, the Maharasa, which is called, and that happened on the Sharad Purnima day. Actually, we follow Kartik month from Purnima to Purnima. That is, we begin in Sharad Purnima to Kartik Purnima. And the Babajis in Vrindavan, they follow from Ekadashi to Ekadashi, the Kartik month. So we follow from Sharad Purnima. So I think Sharad Purnima is on the 19th night, and then 20th onwards we start the Urja Vrata. So this very special pastime had happened on the first day of Kartik month, and that is the Maharas. So how did it happen in the Rasa Pancha Adhyaya in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 10? It's explained very beautifully that how one autumn night Krishna was playing flute deep inside the forest, and all the gopis, when they heard the sound of Krishna's flute, they were all very much attracted and they all came to Krishna. Now, if you read directly from Bhagavatam, especially chapter 29, the way the autumn in Vrindavan is explained, it is so beautiful. The lakes are full of water, and there are fully blown lotus, and the soft breeze which is carrying the aroma of the flowers. And then there are this moonlit night, Purnima, so it's the whole moon. In fact, Sharad Purnima is actually very special, because even otherwise, on that particular day, the moon is fully showing its opulence, all the 16 kala, as they say. And because the moon is the closest to earth on that particular tithi, so the moon rays by itself has healing powers. So on that night, if somebody is looking at the moon, worshipping moon, and the kind of rays that fall, it's good for health. In fact, I remember as a child, because especially Gujaratis, for us Navratri is so special, and all the more Sharad Purnima, the last day. And I remember, my parents used to make this sweet rice, and they put it on the top of the house, on the rooftop, and then we take it in the morning. So I never knew the significance of it, and I thought they just do it as a tradition. But then now when I read, I understand that because the moon is the closest to earth at that time, because the moon rays has healing powers. In fact, especially people who are suffering from breathing issues like asthma and all, the Ayurvedic doctors specifically prescribe that you should take this sweet rice, which is put on a leaf in the night of Sharad Purnima, when the moon is closest, and if you eat that, then so many of your diseases go away. In fact, on further research, I was reading that even Ravana was so particular about this Sharad Purnima night that he had made some special arrangements whereby the moonlights reflect on the mirror, and that mirror reflected on his nabhi, on his navel. So he used to make this special arrangement that this moonlight via the mirror directly come over his navel, because it seems that kept him looking young. So that's one thing. And there were so many things I heard about Sharad Purnima, how it's good for health purpose, how it's good for spiritual consciousness. And I think that's why you see world around many communities, they have this whole night bhajan, jagaran. Sharad Purnima, they never sleep. Whole night they're chanting and dancing, and so it's very, very special. Sharad Purnima is very special, and even Lakshmi Devi herself comes and checks. In fact, they don't sleep because it seems Lakshmi Devi comes that night and she checks who is sleeping, and if somebody is sleeping, she doesn't bless them, it seems. So very, very special day. So what special thing happened in Vrindavan that night was, it was a beautiful moonlit night, and Krishna was deep inside the dense forest, and he was playing this flute. And Krishna's flute has different tunes, and there's one tune that he uses for calling the gopis, and there is one tune he uses for calling Radharani, and one for the sakhas, one for the cows. He has different tunes, like we have those dialer tones and caller tunes for different people. So this particular tune that he was playing was definitely directed towards the gopis. And when the gopis, they heard this tune, they were all in their busy in their household chores. Somebody was cooking, somebody was getting dressed, somebody was making the baby sleep, somebody was feeding the baby, somebody was feeding their husband. But as soon as they heard that tune, the flute, they got all completely ecstatic, they were in ecstasy, and they didn't know what they were doing. So when they're supposed to put the black ointment inside the eyes, they started putting it on the lips. What was supposed to be put on the lips, they started putting it on the cheeks. And then the upper garment, they wore it below, and the garment which is supposed to be worn below, they wore it up, and the preparations where they're supposed to put salt, they put sugar, where they're supposed to put sugar, they put chili. All sorts of things are happening, and the babies, they were breastfeeding, they just put them aside, and because they're completely contemplating that, thinking about Krishna, and they just want to somehow go to Krishna. Of course, Sukadev Goswami, he explains it so nectarianly, the way how the gopis were completely thinking about Krishna, and then somehow they just leave things and they run to Krishna. And finally, when they are there, and Krishna stops playing his flute, and then he looks at them and he makes a face as if, so how come what brings you here in the middle of the night? How come you all are here? And the gopi says, you called us. Krishna says, I never called you. Said, but you played the flute. And Krishna says, I played it for myself. And the gopis are like, no, this is for us. And we want to see you. We came to see you. So Krishna says, okay, fine. You came to see me. So here I am. Now you have seen me. Now you go back home. And the gopis are like, no, we just left everybody just to come to you. And what a cheat you are. And now you ask us to go back. We are not going back. So now there's a big to and fro debate where Krishna gives them a big philosophy class of what the chaste ladies are supposed to do and how they're not supposed to come in the middle of the night to meet him. And is this right? And do the respectable ladies of respectable homes, do they do this? And so much debating goes to and fro. And there, by this conversation, Sukadev Goswami is letting us know that the gopis were not some, emotionally sensitively attached devotees to Krishna, but they were full of knowledge. They had such profound knowledge, because when they answered each and every question that is raised by Krishna in such a beautiful way, and that lets us know that it's not some kind of an emotional attachment, but they had deep understanding of their relationship with Krishna. And then finally, when Krishna is satisfied, he says, okay, enough of all this, now let us have a refreshing dance. So then they all engage in this rasa dance. And then in the middle of it, Krishna, naughty Krishna that he is, he just takes Radharani and he disappears from there. And then after some time, Radharani is telling Krishna that, well, I'm very tired. Can you just take me on your shoulder? And then Krishna says, yes. And Krishna bends down. And when Radharani is just about to get on his shoulder, Krishna disappears from there. And now these gopis are already searching for Krishna. Oh, where is Krishna? He was just here some time back, and what happened suddenly? And they understand that he must have taken Radharani. And then finally, when they go deep inside the forest, They see even Radharani has been abandoned by Krishna, and she's also crying. And all together, all of them are searching for Krishna. And this is so nicely and vividly explained in all the verses where the gopis are asking the deer, did you see Krishna? And they're asking the Mother Earth, oh, did you see Krishna? You are so fortunate. Krishna is always walking on you. Oh, you are so fortunate. Krishna even touched you. In the Varaha Rupa, he embraced you. And then they're asking the creepers, and they're asking the trees, and they're asking everybody, have you seen Krishna? Have you seen Krishna? And they're crying. And then it's a moonlit night, but they are deep inside the forest, and these creepers and bushes and the trees are, because the Vrindavan trees are so typical. And if you have been to Vrindavan, and especially if you have seen this place called Ter Kadamba, the trees, they just go high up. And then when they go high up, they feel separation from Krishna, so they just bend down. And when they're bending down to touch Krishna's feet, they're reminded that it's not about touching his feet, it's about serving him. And if we go down, then how are we going to shelter him from the glare of the sun? So they just come up. And while they come up, they're again crying that how can we just go up? We're missing Krishna, and they want to come down. So the trees are in such a way going up and down, up and down. It forms like a kunja, very cozy place. But it does not allow the rays of sun to come inside. And this forest is so thick and so deep and dense, and they're not even able to see each other. It's getting dark. And then the gopis decide, okay, enough of searching here, let's go to the bank of Yamuna and we'll all sit there. So then all the gopis, they go to the bank of Yamuna, and there they start discussing and talking about Krishna. And then starts this beautiful 19 verses, Gopi Uchuha. It's like all the different gopis together singing different verses. I mean, this is 19 verses sang by different other gopis, and they are talking to Krishna, taunting Krishna, pleading Krishna come back, and requesting him and asking for forgiveness, if at all it's their pride which has driven Krishna away from them. And like that, so beautifully they start singing this very popularly known as Gopi Geet. And this happens in the bank of Chandra Sarovar. And this place, even now you can see in Vrindavan, very beautiful place, Chandra Sarovar, just next to the place where Surdas ji was sitting and composing verses. It's called Surakuti. Even now you go to Vrindavan, you can see this place, Chandra Sarovar, where all these hundreds and thousands of gopis were sitting on the bank of Yamuna, and they were crying in separation of Krishna. And as they were singing and they were enacting pastimes of Krishna to console each other, and repeatedly talking about different leelas of Krishna, finally Krishna appears. And then they become so happy, and they finally get to unite with Krishna. So that special leela of Gopi Geet recitation happens in Kartik month. So that is why in the Damodar Kartik month, remembering that beautiful leela of Krishna and the gopis, we sing Gopi Geet every day. And there's another beautiful leela that happened in Kartik Damodar month, is the Gopashtami leela, where Krishna is getting elder. So he's in the Pauganda age now, and he tells Mother Yashoda that it's high time. I'm not going to take any more those calves for grazing. I've grown up now, and I think I need to be promoted to become a proper cowherd man. I'm not a cowherd boy anymore, and I want to take the cows for grazing. And then Yashoda Mata is like, no, you are still a little boy for me. And then where there's to and fro argument, and then Yashoda Mata finally says, okay, I'm ready to send you, provided we just consult our Kula Guru and ask him for an auspicious time, because this is something very special moment, and we need to celebrate it. And then by Krishna's arrangement of Yogamaya, Gargamuni actually walks in at that time. And Krishna says, hey, look here, our Kula Guru Gargamuni is here. And then they ask him to look at an auspicious time when Krishna can actually start taking the cows for grazing. And Gargamuni looks into the books and he's like, oh yeah, looks like tomorrow morning is a good time, it's an auspicious time. So then Krishna decide, okay, now that our Kulaguru, our Guru has accepted, so I'll go from tomorrow. And then there is this pastime where Yashoda Mata is telling Krishna that, okay, you will go, but you don't even have a proper footwear. So I'll make some nice footwear for you. And Krishna is like, no, cows are our master. And if the masters don't have footwear, how can a servant wear? So if you're making, make it for all the 9 lakh cows. Otherwise, I'm not wearing them. And when the cows hear that, they become so, worried for Krishna that if he's going to come with us tomorrow morning without footwear, what will happen? So that day night, they all leave the Goshala and they go hither, thither, all over Vrindavan, the places where they're supposed to go for grazing next day. And they stamp and stamp and stamp and make it all into soft soil. And next day morning when Krishna is all ready to go, already the whole Vraja sand is like a velvet, so soft, and there are no pebbles and there are no stones or anything. And then Radharani is thinking that, every day I get to see Krishna, because Krishna was just taking the calves and he used to take them nearby. But now if Krishna is going to go deep inside the forest, I can't see him and I want to accompany him. So the gopis, Lalita and Vishakha, they decide, okay, what to do if you want to accompany Krishna? The only way is you dress like a boy. Now Radharani's brother was Subal Sakha. And Radharani and Subal, they were having a similar appearance, resemblance to each other. So Radharani then dresses like Subal Sakha, like a boy, like a cowherd boy. And Lalita, Vishaka, all are dressed like cowherd boys. And then they accompany Krishna taking the cows for grazing. And that is why on the day of Gopashtami, which happens in this month of Kartik, all over Vrindavan and ISKCON temples around the world, they dress Radharani as Subal Sakha, like a cowherd boy, and we can see her lotus feet, which are otherwise not visible. So this Gopashtami Leela happens in Kartik month. The Gopi Geet recitation happens in Kartik month. The Govardhan Leela happens in Kartik month, where Krishna, like a 7-year-old little boy, lifts up the Govardhan hill. Our Gopi Jana Vallabha Krishna becomes Giridhari. He holds the Giri Parvat on his little finger for 7 days and 7 nights. So that special Leela happens in this month. And then Krishna kills Narakasur in this month of Kartik. Because Narakasur was actually Krishna's son. And by this Leela, actually Krishna proves how he's so impartial. Because he protects the son of Kunti Devi, all the 5 of them, and he kills his own son, which is born by him and Bhumi Devi, because he was not righteous. He was on the wrong path. So Krishna proves here that I am in the side of Dharma. So he kills Narakasur. With Satyabhama, he goes to Prag Jyotishpur, when he is informed by the Devatas that this Narakasur has stolen the earrings of Aditi Devi and the umbrella of Varun Dev. Then Krishna goes there and kills him, and then he also releases 16,100 princes which were imprisoned by Banasur. And now these girls are like, we were imprisoned, at least we had some shelter. Now where do we go? We can't go back to our father. So what are we supposed to do now? And Krishna says, it's okay, I'll get married to all of you. So he accepts all of them as their queens and takes them back to Dwarka. So that special Leela happens in Kartik month. In fact, sometime back in our ISKCON temples also, we used to have this Narakasur Vadha as a grand festival. Make a big effigy of Narakasur and Krishna killing Narakasur. But eventually they just stopped it because of some fire safety protocols to be maintained. So that Leela happened, and of course the very special Leela of Lord Ram coming back from the exile back to Ayodhya happens in this Kartik month. So we celebrate Deepavali and Lord is coming back to Ayodhya. So there is this reunion of the Lord and his devotees in Ayodhya. So that Leela happens in Kartik month. Also Kamsa was killed by Krishna in this month, Kartik month, because Akrura comes to fetch Krishna and Balaram, and then they go to Mathura, and then Kamsa is killed, and Krishna is reunited with his parents, Devaki and Vasudev, who had sacrificed so many years and so much misery and suffering in the prison house. So that Leela happens. And then the Samudra Manthan with the Devatas and the demons, the demigods and the demons had been doing this Samudra Manthan, and finally, Dhanavantari, Lord comes out with the Amrita Kalasha, the nectar pot. And when he comes out with the nectar pot, there's a tears of joy coming from his eyes, and that tear drops inside the nectar pot. And because the tear drops in the nectar pot, a small plant comes out, which we popularly call as Tulasi Mata. So because Tulasi is born from the nectar pot, which was carried out by Dhanavantari, Lord Dhanavantari, during the Samudra Manthan. So in this month, the Lord incarnates in so many forms, because he comes as Kurma, because they had to churn the Mandrachal Parvat to get the nectar out. So he comes as Kurma, and then he also comes as Dhanavantari, and then he also comes as Mohini Murti to distribute the nectar among the demigods and demons. So like that, Lord comes in so many different forms in this particular month. And the Bali Vaman Leela, the famous Bali Vaman Leela, also happened in the month of Kartik. And the Tulasi Shaligram Vivaha, the marriage of Tulasi and Shaligram, that also happens in this Kartik month. And very special Leela is of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was doing penance for 5 whole months, and the 6th month, that is this Kartik month, he actually sees Krishna, Lord Vishnu, face to face. So in Madhuvan, even today, if you go to Vrindavan, you can see this place. It's called Dhruvatila. It's in Madhuvan, and there's a hilltop temple, and there's also a small lake, and there's a Shatrughna Kunda temple, and there's a place where Shatrughna killed Lavanasura. So even today you can see that place where Dhruva had been doing a penances, tapasya, and finally he sees the Lord. So that happens in this Kartik month. And Ambarish Maharaj's famous episode where Durvasa, curses Ambarish, why did you break the fast, before me coming, and the counter, how Sudarshan, protecting Ambarish Maharaj, is running behind Durvasa Muni. So that pastime happens in the Kartik Damodar month, because Ambarish Maharaj was doing Ekadashi for the whole year, Dwadasha Pradhana Ekadashi, and he was supposed to finish it up, close it, break it for this Kartik month. But then this episode of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni episode happens, and that place is still there in Vrindavan. You can see it's called Ambarish Tila. It's near to Vishram Ghat. So that pastime also happens here. And then this special pastime of I won't say reappearance, because the original appearance of Shyam Kund and Radha Kund happened in the month of Chaitra, that is April and May. And this is reappearance of Radha Kund and Shyam Kund, which happens in Kartik month. And how is that? Is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes on his visit to Vrindavan, he's been asking the local people, where is Radha Kund, where is Shyam Kund? So they say, we haven't heard about Radha Kund, Shyam Kund. We know about a place called Gauri Khet and Kali Khet. There's people talk about it. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually goes and sees that, he understands, this is Radha Kund and Shyam Kund, and he's crying and he becomes unconscious. So that's the time in the month of Kartik that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rediscovers Radha Kund and Shyam Kund. But the actual killing of Aritrasura demon and the arrangement whereby all the 68,000 holy water entering into Shyam Kund and Radha Kund happens in the month of Chaitra. That is sometimes in the month of April or May, summertime. But again, there is one special tithi called Bahulashtami, which happens in this month of Kartik, where it said that if anybody on the day of Bahulashtami dips in the waters of Radha Kund, then they go back home, back to Godhead. So that are some of the Leelas. And then Krishna kills Vyomasur in this month, and Krishna kills the Kesi demon in this month, and Bhishma Panchaka, a very special fasting, is followed by Bhishma Dev during this Kartik month. Just like we have Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi, which was specially for Bhima, because he said, I can't do all those 24 Ekadashis, I can do only one time fasting. And they said, okay, you do this one fasting and it will be equal to fasting in all Ekadashis just for Bhima. So similarly, this is Bhishma Panchaka, which is actually called Vishnu Panchaka. Means somebody is not able to follow the whole Kartik month, then they at least do this 5 days Bhishma Panchaka or Vishnu Panchaka, which starts from Ekadashi, Utthana Ekadashi to Kartik Purnima. Then at least they get the result of doing the whole month of Kartik Vrata. And another special pastime is of course our Damodar pastime, for which we celebrate the whole year round, where how once Krishna was very upset with Mother Yashoda because he was drinking milk, and how Yashoda Mata, she just puts Krishna aside to save some milk which is over boiling. It's it may just boil, it may just come out. So just to save that milk of Padmagandha cows, Yashoda Mata puts Krishna aside and she runs inside the kitchen, and Krishna gets all upset. How can she ignore me? And he just takes a grinding stone and breaks the churning pot, which Mother Yashoda was very diligently doing it from morning. She was trying to make out some nice butter for Krishna on the day of Diwali, and Krishna, getting upset on her, just breaks the pot. And then finally Yashoda Mata is looking for Krishna, where did this mischievous boy go after breaking the pot? And finally she spots him, but Krishna is too quick. He just jumps from the window and out in the courtyard he runs, and Yashoda Mata is running behind Krishna. And then finally Yashoda Mata gets hold of Krishna, and she ties him to the grinding mortar. And then Krishna drags the grinding mortar between these two Arjuna trees, and finally the Arjuna trees they break apart, and they finally delivered, because they are the sons of Kuvera called Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, and they're so grateful to Krishna because they had been in this body of trees for thousands and thousands of years, and finally they got delivered, so they become so happy. Now the fact that Yashoda Mata tied Krishna with a rope on his belly to this grinding mortar, because Dam means rope and Udhar means stomach, so because he's tied by the rope to his through his stomach, is called Damodar. But I also heard another version of this Damodar name, because not only we worship Yashoda Damodar this Kartik month, but we also worship Radha Damodar, because it was not only Yashoda who tied Krishna, it was also Radharani who tied Krishna. So the proof of this is very beautiful verse by Bilva Mangal Thakur in Krishna Karnamritam, verse number 110. And in a commentary to that verse, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he quotes a very beautiful verse from Bhavishottara Purana, and he's explaining this pastime which happened up there in Goloka Vrindavan, which is a very secret pastime of how once Radharani had asked Krishna to meet him in a particular place at a particular time, and Krishna does not turn up. He comes 2 hours late, and Radharani is very upset. How come you can be so late, And Krishna is like trying to explain to her that why was he late, and Radharani is not ready to hear any explanation from Krishna, and she just takes out the golden belt which she wore on her waist. She just takes it out and she just ties Krishna to a tree with the golden belt, and then after her anger gets cooled down, then she just unties Krishna. So Jiva Goswami in his Radha Krishna Archana Deepika book quotes that Krishna was so happy. He tells Radharani, "Oh my beloved Radha, I'm so happy by your transcendental, divine, sweet anger that you have just now showed to me by tying me with this golden belt, that henceforth I will be known as Damodar, the one who got tied, by this belt on the belly. So that's one very, very secret pastime which we usually don't discuss in public, and we limit it to Yashoda Damodar. But this is something explained by Jiva Goswami, that how this Leela happened in Goloka Vrindavan. So even today, the famous Radha Damodar temple, the Jiva Goswami's Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, whole month of Kartik, to remember this pastime which happened in Goloka Vrindavan, they actually tie Krishna and Radha together with this golden thread. Even today, if you observe properly, sometimes you can't see because there's so much alankar, because they put so much ornaments and flower garlands and so much decoration. But if you give some dakshina, some money to the pujari, and you ask him to show you, he will show you that golden thread, which is between Krishna and Radha, and this whole month they'll do it. They tie them with that golden thread, signifying this pastime which happened of Radha Damodar. And of course, the deities of Radha Damodar itself were given as a gift to Jiva Goswami by Rupa Goswami in the month of Kartik in the year 1542, because Rupa Goswami himself carved those deities, and those deities are so special because they are the combination of all the other deities in Braja, because the face is like Govindaji and the chest is like Gopinath and the feet is like Madan Mohan. They're so beautiful, and Rupa Goswami personally carved them and he gifted it to Jiva Goswami in the month of Kartik. So Kartik month is also the happy birthday of Radha Damodar deities. And of course, for all of us ISKCON devotees, this month is very special because Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. Of course, whether Vaishnavacharya's disappearance or appearance, both are so auspicious, because these Vaishnavas, when they are alive, they're teaching something by their lives, and when they leave their body, they're also teaching something by the way they live. How is one supposed to leave the body? What's the ideal very organized way they guide us in every aspect of life in such a beautiful way. And it's also auspicious because when the Vaishnavas leave the body, where are they going to? They're just going to meet Krishna. That means they're going to unite with Krishna. So definitely it's auspicious. So Srila Prabhupada disappearance day is in this month of Kartik. November 14, 1977, evening 7:25 p.m. in Vrindavan Dham, in Prabhupada house, in his house in Vrindavan, he just leaves the body. So all these very special pastimes, and of course the main thing is Uttana Ekadashi, because the Lord has been sleeping all these 4 months, Chaturmasa. So on this Ekadashi of Kartik month, Uttana Ekadashi. Uttana is Utto, it's like get up, like we say, Utti Utti Gopala, get up. So Krishna gets up. Uttana Ekadashi. The demigods, they wake up Krishna by chanting various hymns. So the Lord gets up from his Yoga Nidra. And just like the children, sometimes, they just run to mother. Oh, when you were not at home, this happened, that happened, this happened. That's what the demigods do. They go to Krishna and they were like, when you were sleeping, this happened, that happened, this happened, and they'll have all the complaints. So they go to Krishna and they say, you know what? When you were taking rest, there is this demon called Shanka, and he was giving us so much trouble, that out of his fear, all the yagya mantras and all the grains which we are supposed to use for fire sacrifice and all the other things, by themselves they went inside the water and they hid themselves. So we're not even able to perform any fire sacrifices. So then Krishna says, okay, don't worry, so I'll get inside the water, because Shanka, the demon, has also gone in the water to get those paraphernalia which is used for fire sacrifice, and he wants to destroy it so that there'll be no future fire sacrifices, because fire sacrifice happens means the fruits go to the devatas, demigods, and they become powerful. This is something like how we give tax to the government, and in turn the government uses that taxes to improve the facilities for the citizens. So when we perform fire sacrifices, the fruits go to the devtas, and in turn they make sure everything happens properly in the cosmos. The rains come on time, the sun rises, everything is done properly in the universe. So now Shankar wanted to destroy that basic foundation. He said, if I just take those grains and those mantras and all those things, then there can be no more fire sacrifice. So he goes inside the water in search of those Vedic mantras. And then Krishna tells the devatas, okay, meet me at Badrika ashram. I'm getting inside the water and I'll kill this demon. So Krishna goes inside the water and he catches hold of this demon Shankar and he kills. And then he comes out in Badrika ashram. And then when he comes out, he says, look, I've killed the demon, but the mantras are floating here and there. All these Vedic powerful mantras. So he asked the sages, all of you get inside the water and try and save those mantras. So all the sages also go inside the water, and whatever they can save. Somebody saved 4 verses, somebody is saving something here, 1 verse here, and they're all taking mantras. And then whoever saves whichever mantras, they all become the adhipati, they become the owner of those mantras. And then Krishna comes out at Prayag, and there he meets all the sages. So that particular incident happens in the month of Kartik, the Utthana Ekadashi, this Leela of how Krishna kills the demon Shankar, and how all these sages, they become the owners of different mantras. So that happens in this month. And one more thing why this month is very special for us is because in 1935, it was in this month of Kartik that Srila Prabhupada got this very special instruction from his Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that if you ever get money, print books, So that happened in the month of Kartik. And of course, the Govinda Kunda was formed in month of Kartik, because we know after the Giridhari Leela, Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill, and how he crushes the pride of Indra, and then how Indra brings Surabhi cow along, and then they do Abhishek of Krishna, and the Govinda Kunda is formed. And there's another pastime which happens in Kartik is in Imli Tala, where Radharani is coronated as Vrindavaneshwari. So that happens also in this one. So of course there's so many beautiful leelas that happen. But one specific lesson that we can take from the famous Damodar Leela, one particular devotee who comes in the line of Tukaram, Bhakta Tukaram, is very famous in Maharashtra. So there's one devotee who comes in his line called Hari Sauri Prabhu, and he very nicely summarizes the whole Damodar Leela in 4 lines, which can be like some kind of a take-home lesson for all of us to contemplate in this month of Damodar, while we are offering every day this Damodar, lamps to Krishna. He says that just like in this Leela, we see how Mother Yashoda, she was with Krishna, she had Krishna all for herself, but she puts Krishna aside to save something petty, very petty, just one, some little milk overflowing, and she wanted to, save that milk, but she got a bigger loss. She wanted to save little milk, but she got a big loss because Krishna broke the whole big butter pot, which had very, very special buttermilk. Because Nanda Maharaj had maybe 9 lakh cows, and out of 9 lakh cows, 108 cows were very special. And out of those 108 cows, the 8 Padmagandha cows were most special. And out of those 8 Padmagandha cows, there were 2 cows which were fed with grass, which was not grown by water, which was grown by putting milk. That kind of grass, which was nourished by putting milk, that grass was eaten by these 2 cows. And when they gave milk, that was so aromatic milk and so nutritious, and when the milk used to boil for few kilometers, people can understand, oh, this milk is getting boiled, such sweet aroma. Now that milk Jashoda Mata had taken and made it into buttermilk, and now she was churning it to get some nice butter for Krishna. So she lost it in one go because she was trying to protect some little milk there. So Hari Sauri ji in his commentary says this is a story of all of our lives. We have got this human birth, which is very special, and we're not bothered about it, and we try to save something petty, some small things, some small material things, and we get a bigger loss. We lose this opportunity of associating with Krishna's holy name, with Krishna's devotee, just to protect some petty things. And then he says in the next line, but however, after Yashoda Mata realizes her mistake, she runs behind Krishna, and with every step she gets closer to Krishna, and finally she catches Krishna and binds him. So similarly, it's never late. Even afterwards, when a devotee realizes that he has left Krishna and is running to protect his material petty things, at least when he gets that realization and he turns around and starts running towards Krishna, every step that he takes will bring him more closer to Krishna and more closer to Krishna. And finally, one day he will be able to bound the boundless, the unbounded Lord, the boundless Lord with his love. So I thought that was so beautiful, this whole month, which we can, while we are offering those lamps, we can just think about it, that yes, we do get distracted by different things happening in our lives. But at least after that realization, if we start, running towards Krishna, every step that we are taking, every time that we are chanting and we are offering lamp and we are taking prasad and we are hearing, and we're getting one step closer to Krishna and one step closer to Krishna. So that is so hope-giving. And I thought that was very beautiful. So like that, so many beautiful leelas happen in this month. Now what do we do about it? So we have to follow this Kartik month nicely so that we can get Krishna's attention on us, because even in this Damodar Leela we see that Mother Yashoda tied Krishna, but she never untied him. The untying part was done by Nanda Maharaj only. So the mother tied, but father opened up. Otherwise Krishna was still tied to the grinding motor, and Nanda Maharaj comes and he unties Krishna and takes him on the lap. Similarly, Mother Maya, she's tying us to this material world. But the untying can be done only by Krishna, who is our father. But to get untied by him, we'll have to get his attention on us. And the only way to get his attention is to chant and serve and fast and follow devotional practices sincerely and engage in service and Vaishnava seva, and that will catch his attention, and then he'll come and untie us from the bounds of Maya, because we can't do it ourselves anyway. So I thought that was one thing we can think about. So like that, we see many glorious devotees in the past have done this vrata. And in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 12, it says that if even an unqualified person does this Kartik vrata, then he becomes an intimate associate of the Lord. So that opportunity is there for one who does this Kartik vrata. In fact, it said that even if somebody doesn't follow for the whole month, simply follows the Kartik vrata sincerely even for 3 days, then whatever he desires, that will be fulfilled. At the same time, it says that if you don't follow Kartik vrata, then you are like a killer of a Brahmana, or you are a killer of your own parents. And if somebody takes it very easily, Hari Bhakti Vilas says, if somebody says, it's okay, if it's possible, I'll follow, otherwise I'll not follow. If they take it very easily, then whatever pious karma that they have accumulated over so many millions of lifetime will be all destroyed. So I thought that was pretty serious, and everybody should take this following of Kartik vrata very sincerely. The following of Kartik vrata is very simple, because as ISKCON devotees, we are already doing it regularly, our regular daily sadhana, that is getting up early in the morning, Brahma Muhurta, and then taking bath. And if possible, somebody can take 3 times bath in Kartik. It's so nice, because Krishna is in the water, inside the water, and all the sages are inside the water. So there is a special significance about taking bath in Kartik. even if somebody takes bath every single day, early morning before the sun rises, then he gets the benefit of taking holy bath in different pilgrimage places. So that powerful is this month of Kartik. Simply taking bath will give us so much merit. Simply doing parikrama. If somebody is simply doing parikrama of the temple, with one step they get the result of performing one Ashwamedha horse sacrifice. Now imagine 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices make you Indra. So now if every day you're doing parikrama, what's happening? So like that, just doing parikrama of the temple, getting up early in the morning, taking 3 times bath. Actually, the ideal thing is to go to a holy river and take bath. But keeping in mind the present situation that we all are in, it will be difficult. But at least if we can mentally remember those holy rivers while taking bath, like we can just say Ganga, Ganga, Ganga 3 times, just remember, and you take some water in your palms and then put it back in your bucket, and then or even while you're taking a shower, just remember Ganga, or just chant the names of different holy rivers. Like you just say Gangecha, Yamunecha, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri, Jalasmin. All these Sannidhim, Kuru. I remember all these holy rivers and take bath, then also you are benefited. And then about the recitations, one should chant the Damodar Ashtakam, which is written by Satyavrata Muni. And one can chant the Bhakti Yoga, chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita. And one should chant Shikshashtakam. And one should chant the Gajendra Stuti. And one can chant Gopi Geet. And one can every day read one pastime of Krishna from the Krishna book or from Srimad Bhagavatam, any one pastime. In fact, it says that in this month, if somebody chants even one verse from Bhagavatam, they get the result of reading all the 18 Puranas. That powerful, little bit if somebody does in this month, they get immense, back. Actually, the ideal way of following the Kartik month would be to go and reside in holy place. But that may not be feasible for everybody, because they say if somebody does a Kartik month in Mathura Mandal, then they get Krishna Prem. If they do it in Dwarka, they go back to Goloka Vrindavan. If they do it in Kurukshetra, then they get 10 million times the results of whatever pious activities they do. And if they do it in Pushkar, then they get it double of Kurukshetra. So like that, if we can go on and on. But even if we can't be physically present in Mathura Mandal, at least we can mentally be there. We are where our mind is. If we are conscious of Mathura and Vrindavan all the time, then it's same like residing there, because sometimes if somebody is even residing there, but mind may be somewhere else. Mind may be in Leicester, or mind may be in Bombay, but we can stay in England and we can just keep that, okay, I'm in Vrindavan, and be in that consciousness. And then, of course, ideally it would be nice to go on Bahulashtami day and take bath in Radha Kund, but otherwise, if somebody has the water of Radha Kund collected and they have it at home, on Bahulashtami day they can put it on the table and do 3 times parikrama of Radha Kund water, offer bhoga to it, offer arati, and then sprinkle some water on the head in midnight, 12 o'clock, that can be done. So like that, taking 3 times bath, offering ghee lamps, Damodar to Damodar, Yashoda Damodar or Radha Damodar in the morning and evening, and fasting. If somebody is taking 3 times meals, they can take it for 2 times. If they're taking 2 times, they can skip 1 meal, just take 1 time. Of course, depending on the health condition. Some people do only fruits. The whole month they take only fruits. Some people do the whole month Ekadashi Prashadam. Or some people take only Havishya, some Khichdi this whole month. So like that, different kind of fastings can be done. And Bhishma Panchaka can be done. If the whole month fasting is not possible, then the last 5 days, starting from Ekadashi to Kartik Purnima, they can do some special fasting. Actually, ideally, it is like you take cow dung and cow urine, which is not possible. But other way of doing is by taking unspiced khichdi, or by taking fruits, or by taking Ekadashi Prashadam. So like that, fasting can be followed, offering of the lamps can be done, taking bath, reading scriptures. In fact, once Gurudas Prabhu asked Srila Prabhupada, what's the right way of following this Kartik month? And Srila Prabhupada, told Gurudas Prabhu that you should chant Hare Krishna. As soon as Prabhupada said that, he immediately put his hand inside the mala bag and he started chanting. And Prabhupada said, let me complete. You should chant Hare Krishna 24 hours without food and water. Can you do that? And Gurudas Prabhu was like, no. What can we do then, Prabhupada? That standard will be too high for us. Then Prabhupada said, whatever you are already doing it, double it. So that is feasible. If somebody is chanting 4 rounds, then 8. If somebody is chanting 16, they can try to double it, or whatever, as much as possible, they can try to do more. So this is one thing. And then one can do Tulasi Puja, which we already do in our regular sadhana, but we specifically make sure that we don't miss it, morning and evening. And one can do Go Seva, morning and evening, just feeding something to the cows, or we can donate to the temple, those who have Goshala, so that they can serve the cows on our behalf. While offering the lambs also, you offer it to Yashoda Damodar, you offer it to Srila Prabhupada, you to Guru Deepam, you put it to your Guru. There's also one more thing that we can do is put Akash Deepam. That's very special, because sometimes our ancestors, this is something to be done on behalf of the ancestors. There is this one Leela of how, there's one Katha of how there was this king called Sunanda, and his Guru had advised him that if you show Akash Deepam every day, morning and evening, then all your ancestors will be delivered. So he did that, and he also went back home, back to Godhead after doing it sincerely. So this is very simple. Akash Deepam is you just take it on your palm, the Deepa, and you just show it towards the sky. Or the other way is that you with the help of a bamboo stick, and you just raise it. But this is pretty simple to do it with your palms. The whole feeling in the mind is like this. You're telling Damodar that, my dear Lord, you are here in the deity form, and you're also in my heart, and you're also in this above, and you're everywhere actually. So I'm offering you this lamp, and if you are pleased by my following of this Kartik Damodar Vrata sincerely, then please bestow your mercy upon me. That's the prayer. So there's a small prayer you chant, Damodaraya Vishvaye Vishwarupa Dharaya Cha. And then it said, this Namaskrityam Pradashyami Vyomadipam Haripriyam. So I'm just offering you this lamp, Damodaraya with Vishwarupaya. Oh, you are everywhere, Lord Damodar. So this is one thing we can do, is offering of Akash Deepam. And then charity should be given this whole month. Direct service to the deities is more appreciated, like giving some deity clothes, or sponsoring some deity paraphernalia, or for Annadanam, or some food items can be donated. Actually, this has to be done regularly, giving of lambs and Go Seva, Tulsi Seva, charity, not one, but every single day give something or the other. One day you are giving food, then second day you can offer some clothes, or third day you can offer water, give water in charity. So like that, there are so many kinds you can do. And even if you miss it one day, because if you are traveling somewhere, or you just missed offering the lamb, then you can also do it mentally. That's the beauty about Kali Yuga, that if you think something wrong in the mind, it doesn't have an effect. But if you think something good in the mind, that you get results of it. So even in your mind, if you're offering lamb to Damodar, then it's okay. So the best is that you do fasting and follow all the conditions. But if you're not able to fast, and you're not able to follow all the conditions, and then you're not able to get up in the morning, and you're not able to chant, and you're not able to even mentally offer, and you're not able to do anything, there's still one hope, as that get hold of a devotee who's doing all this, and feed him nicely and serve him. And that's one way of doing it. I mean, I'm just trying to tell different shortcuts, but ideally we're supposed to do it ourselves. But even if we're just not able to do anything, then the devotee who's doing it nicely, then you serve him and feed him and give some charity, and that's where you get a little part. Actually, the special part of Damodar month is somebody can do it for you, and you get the result. And there is this pastime of a Brahmana from Kaveripuram, and how he gave his Damodar Vrata results to Kalaha. she was a ghost actually, because she had committed suicide. So she was moving around in a subtle body. And when she fall on the feet of this sage, and he said, okay, I share with you the results of my Kartik Vrata. And immediately a plane comes from Vaikuntha and takes her. So this is one thing of Damodar Vrata, is you can do it on behalf of others. That means for your ancestors or your elderly parents or somebody who is unable to do it, we can do it. We can do it for everybody, for the whole world actually. We can just do it and then share the results with the whole world for those who aren't doing it. So that can be done also. So like that, maintaining celibacy, and then even if we light the lamp and give it to somebody, that gives us so much benefit. There's another pastime in Padma Purana about a rat, how by mistake the rat is trying to eat a little ghee which is left over in a lamp, and the rat gets a result of offering the lamp. So it's like that. And if we are unable to do anything of the above, at least if we share this knowledge with others, then also we are doing a great service. Tell others about this Kartik Damodar month. So of course there are so many things which are written, what happens when you do it. But I'm sure as devotees we are pretty convinced, even if we don't read this Hari Bhakti Vilas, Padma Puran, Skanda Puran, Nectar of Devotion, and so many things are written. But two things we should do for sure is take one Nishedh Vrata and take one Vidhi Vrata. Vidhi Vrata means I'll do. And Nishedh Vrata is I won't do. So every devotee in this Kartik month, they should take one Nishedh Vrata and one Vidhi Vrata. That means we can just take a vow like I won't do this particular. For example, as devotees, we don't take non-vegetarian foods, or we don't take onion, garlic, we don't take tea, coffee. So we are already doing those Nishedh Vratas. So we should do something more. So something like this whole month, I won't do fault finding with any Vaishnavas, or I won't do aparadh, or I won't sleep after this time, or I won't, waste my time, or I'll not allow any negative emotion, I'll not entertain any negative emotion in my mind. So something like that, we can take one Nishedh Vrata. I will not touch my phone after this time, or I'll, limit my phone hours, or something like that. And one Vidhi Vrata. Okay, I will, chant this many rounds, extra rounds, or I will do. So something like that. So one Vidhi Vrata and one Nishedh Vrata should be taken this month. So that's about it. One should take it up very seriously. One doesn't take it up seriously, there are repercussions, especially after understanding it. So now that you have heard this class, you have to do it. If you hadn't heard it, you had a choice because you didn't know. But if you know it and then you don't do it, then it becomes more hard on you. So we have to do this Kartik Vrata. And of course, this is not something like we do it forcibly, but we do it out of love and affection for Krishna, Radharani and Krishna, so that they bestow their mercy upon us, and someday we can go back home, back to Godhead. So with this I end it here. I think I already went over time. Yes, I made your Bhagavatam class into some big seminar class or something like that. So okay, I think I'll end it here. Thank you so much for your patient hearing, and I just pray and hope that all of us have a happy Kartik Damodar month, and we do it in a way that pleases Guru and Krishna. Thank you so much. Damodar month ki jai, Kartik Damodar month ki jai, and Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna 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 lage, sab Krishna 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 lage, sab Krishna 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 lage, sab Krishna